Thanks very much, Ethan. Can I also acknowledge the traditional custodians of our beautiful land and pay my respects to the elders, both past and present. And it is indeed a great honour to be here to open the Everything of the Internet of Things Leadership Summit as part of the Spark Festival. And can I congratulate all the organisers in putting this together. It's really important here in New South Wales and in particular in Sydney that we bring all of these key elements together in this innovative and this startup community. You know, when you have the government sector, when you have investors, mentors, the academic sector, the private sector coming together, feeding off each other in this potpourri, if you will, that will create and generate a whole lot of ideas and excitement, then that's a good thing for the premier city in our country. And the New South Wales government is going to play its role. And not only are we here today officially launching, but we're also going to have an ideas exchange on the 24th of October, where I and the Minister for Ageing and Disability will be conducting a forum in relation to how we can use the innovation area to generate better improvements, better outcomes for ageing and disability, and that's going to be really exciting. In terms of government, where do we stand? Well, people say to me, and I've just spoken to a number of people outside, in terms of what does the government do in terms of the Internet of Things? Most people say, look, you're the government, just get out of our lives. You really shouldn't get in our way too much because you're just going to slow us down. And I agree with that. From a conservative side of politics, I agree. Small government's good government. But there is a role for government to play in the Internet of Things. Governments traditionally should invest in infrastructure and build infrastructure, and that's easy to see. If we build roads, you say tick, go and build more roads. You build rail, tick, go and build more rail. Hospitals, tick, schools, tick. We want that as a society. And it's easy. If we build a road, you can see the outcome. You can see cars driving on it and hopefully less traffic. And you want that to happen. And that's important, but there's also another important thing that governments can build, and that's databases. So, for example, at the moment, we're building a whole lot of databases through our regulatory authority that we can then use that database not only to help regulate the marketplace, but that database then becomes an asset that we put in the pantry. I'll give you an example. I'm now regulating the petrol market in New South Wales. So we created this thing called Fuel Check. So you can go on to Fuel Check, save it to your phone, your smartphone, and the Fuel Check will enable you to look at any petrol price at any given time in New South Wales in real time. So you can tell right now that it's far cheaper to buy petrol here than it is, 2 kilometres down the road. So if you're really smart, you'd say, okay, well, I'm going to fill up here and save myself $20. And to Etan's point, in the not too distant future, you won't need to make that decision. Google, you'll integrate that information with Google Maps with your smart car, so that you will then say to your smart car, this is where I want you to fill up. But the point is, it won't be able to do that unless it gets the data in the first place. What government has now done is create that data set to enable a smart car in the future to combine with smart maps to work out the smartest place to fill up. That's one example. Another example is we are doing certification work in New South Wales. So I'm responsible essentially for building and construction. I've just passed a law that requires certifiers in New South Wales to give me data in real time. And I need that because I want to know when a certifier is certifying on the slab of a building, certifying on the roof of a building, certifying on the electrical of a building, certifying on an occupation certificate of a building. And I want that in real time because that data is coming into a data lake that ultimately one day we all open up because it's part of that transparency piece that we need to promote. But that data then can be used inside a government at least to then start working out which builders are more likely to go bankrupt and then cause a massive effect downstream on consumers, so that we can then intervene earlier in the marketplace to say to the builders, look, You're going to hit some choppy waters. What can we do to help you, guide you along to make sure that you don't go bankrupt in the future? Because that causes a claim on our home warranty insurance scheme, which costs you and me $1.7 million a week. But that's an immediate thing that I can see have an immediate effect. I.e., that's like me building a bridge or building a hospital. I can see why I need that data. But there's going to be far, far greater chefs out there in the kitchen that will think, geez, you know what? If you can put that data in that pantry, I can do a whole lot more things with it. And if I combine that data with the petrol station, completely unrelated to the human mind, but there could be a connection between the two, or between the three, or between the 10, or between the 100, or between the 1,000. See, I get frustrated inside a government when I am on this path, on a really determined drive to get as much data in a digestible form that we can then open up so that people like you, the creatives out there, can use it. Get as much data in. When people ask me, why are you doing it? And I say, don't ask me why I'm doing it. You should ask yourself, why are we not doing it? Because we haven't even come across quantum computers yet. We haven't even really evolved the AI space. When these things come together in the next 5-10 years, they will have such a thirsty appetite for more and more information so they can draw more and more connections, to go to Etan's point again. So the end goal is to improve lives in a quantum way, in a way that we can't even imagine. And we're talking about the poorest of the poor in Africa. And I've seen speakers before me show a picture, create a vision of how we really lift the base in the world. And the only way you're going to do that is to bring things together, join the dots. And governments have a role to play. It's not a dominant role, but it is a role to play. I just want to give you that outlook that here in New South Wales, you do have a government. I can give you my word, you have a government that gets it. I'm a minister that absolutely gets it. I can't think of a more powerful enabler for change in the world than the digital age and the things that the Internet of Things brings to us, and the extraordinary opportunities that will create for us all. So on that positive note, that aspirational note, in the magic powers invested in me as a Minister of the Crown, I officially open the Spark Festival. I wish you every success in your journey here today and the days ahead. Thank you very much.